Would help if I was sat on the chair, dearie me. Good morning, everybody. Hope we're okay. Today we're going to look at odd and even numbers. So odd and even numbers are really helpful when we're looking at our multiplications and our divisions, looking at number patterns. So let's get started. Odd and even. Now we need to know what we're counting in when we're counting in odd and even numbers. So to get warmed up, let's have a look at this number pattern. Follow the jumps and count along with the number line. So join in with me. I want to hear you first. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. What do you notice? What are we counting in? Hopefully you spotted, and maybe I even said at the beginning, that we're counting in twos. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. And I know that because when we use our 2 times tables, I would say 1 multiplied by 2 is 2. 2 multiplied by 2 is 4. 3 multiplied by 2 is 6. So I know I'm counting in steps of 2. Follow the jumps and count along the number line. So let's see what we're doing this time. 3. So we start at 1, 3, 5, 7. Join in at home. 9, 11, 13, 15. What do we notice this time? What are we counting in? We're still counting in jumps of 2 because we're going 1, 2, 1, 2. Still counting in steps of 2, but we're not saying the same numbers because this time I started on 0 and went to 2, 2 to 4. This time I'm starting on 1 and going to 3 and going to 5, but I'm still counting 2s. That's a little bit confusing, isn't it? So what do we know about these numbers? What do we know about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10? Apart from it being in the 2 times table, we can say that these numbers are even. And then these numbers here, we're still counting in steps of 2, but we're not counting in multiples of 2. These are multiples of 2 because they're in our 2 times multiplication. Here we have odd numbers. They are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. The 11 has 1, 1. The 12 has 2 1s, which is why, whoops, I don't count in that one. Let's see, okay. And instead, it's 13, 3 1s, 15, 3 1s. I must stop touching that board. Let's have a look. Okay. Now, a way I remember our odd and even numbers is by pretending I'm calling somebody, because sometimes it's quite easy to remember phone numbers. So if I wanted to remember my even numbers, I would say I'm calling Mr. Even. And to call Mr. Even, I would say I'm dialing 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Hello, Mr. Even. Have a go at that at home. So what number do we call for Mr. Even? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Hello, Mr. Even. Let's have a look at this one. Odd numbers then. So I'm going to call Mr. Odd. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Hello, Mr. Odd. Have a go at home. What number do we call Mr. Odd on? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Hello, Mr. Odd. See if you can remember what number do we call Mr. Even on. Dial the number at home. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Hello, Mr. Even. Have a go at calling Mr. Odd at home. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Hello, Mr. Odd. And please keep practicing that. Okay, if you remember that sequence of numbers, that's really going to help you with your odd and even numbers. I put my laptop miles away today. I don't know why. Right. So we've got some numbers. Count as you see them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Have a look at these numbers. So what do you notice about these numbers? Here we've got the Numicon. Numicon's really helpful, okay, with recognising numbers quickly because we're used to working with it a lot in school. And rather than having to count out the number, I recognise the shape and I know that that shape is 5. But looking at these, okay, I can see this is 2, this is 4, this is 6, this is 8, this is 10. Now they don't have a little bit. Apart from the 1, which is odd because it doesn't have anything next to it, this bit doesn't have a sticky outy bit. Number 3 has a sticky outy bit. Number 5 has a sticky outy bit, as does number 7 and as does number 9. And they've got that sticky out bit, and number 1 on its own, because they are odd. They cannot be shared into 2 equal groups. Like the number 1, I couldn't put that into 2 groups. With an even number, we can break it into 2 even groups. We can share it into equal groups. So the 2, let's see, hasn't got a sticky outy bit. So I know it is even. The 4 is even, doesn't have a sticky out bit. 6, 8 and 10, they all have an even number which can be shared into 2 equal groups. If it's even, it can be shared into 2 equal groups. If it's odd, it has a number which cannot be shared into 2 equal groups. It would have 1 left out. Let's have a look. So here, giving us a little wiggle are which numbers? Which numbers are wiggling? We know they are odd. And the ones that are still, we know are even. These numbers are even, these numbers are odd. What number is that? I can see straight away that is number 6, and I can see that because I've got 3 and 3 there, and I know double 3 is 6. What do you know about the number 6? Is it odd or even? Hopefully you've said even. I know it's even because it can be shared into groups of 2, okay? I have 3 groups of 2, okay? And in each group I have the same. I could also share going down. Now the children are playing a game. They need to get into pairs. How many are in a pair? 2. What do you know about the number 2? It is even. So let's have a look. Will these children be able to get into pairs? Count up how many there are. 1, 2, 3. Hope you're joining in at home. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, what do we know about the number 8? Does it appear when we're using our 2 times tables, when we're counting in multiples of 2? Does it appear when we're calling Mr. Even? Let's give him a call. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yes, it does. So I think they can all go into pairs. Let's see. So do we have an odd amount of children or an even? I think we've agreed that we have an even. 2, 4, 6, 8. Nobody is left out, which makes it easy to go into pairs. Now let's have a look. Jack has to go. The children continue playing. They need to get into pairs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Mrs. Eastwood seems to have jumped a slide there. Let's have a look. What have we done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Why does Jack need to go? Jack has to go. Oh, Jack has to go. He needs to go and do some work. Oh, it's very early for Mrs. Eastwood still. Right, let's have a look, see how many there are now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Jack's gone. Okay, Jack's left the room. 7 people. Can they get into pairs now? So, think about when it's even, we can pair them up. They're in steps of 2. When it's odd, we can't have pairs. We can't have groups of 2. So we've got the number 7. Let's try calling Mr. Even. Does 7 come in Mr. Even's number? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. No, I didn't say 7 when I called him. Let's try Mr. Odd. 1, 3, 5, 7. It is odd. So we know they're not going to be able to get into groups of pairs because they will leave somebody out. Okay, so we have an odd number. Right, there are 5 flowers. Can the flowers be shared equally between 2 pots? So look at the number 5. What do you know about the number 5? Is it odd or even? Let's call Mr. Even. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Well, I didn't say 5 when I was counting my evens. Let's try my odds. 1, 3, 5. Mr. Odd is on my 5s. So I know, no, that's not going to be shared into the 2 pots. There we go. 4 can be shared because that's a multiple of 2, but 5 is odd, so no, it cannot. There are 12 flowers. The flowers can be shared equally between 2 pots. 12 is an even number. We know it's an even number because we look at the digits. We look at the 10s, we look at the 1s, but we look at the 1 part to help us because the 10s, yes, that number of 10s is odd, but you need to remember a multiple of 10, we call Mr. Even 10, okay, because multiples of 10, 10, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, they are even. Sometimes when we just look at the first number in our 10s, it confuses us. It's really important when it's a 2-digit number that you look at the number of 1s in it, okay? So look at the n number, the number of 1s, and that will tell you if it's odd or even. And 12 has 2 1s, and we know that 2 is used when we call Mr. Even, and it's the first number when we count in 2s when we use our 2 times tables, 2, okay? So I know without counting that that is even because 2 is an even number, and I can use that when I'm looking at 2-digit numbers. Let's clear that. There we go. What if I had 13 flowers? It would be odd. How do I know that it would be odd? What number is this? Let's use blue. Look at the 13. How many 1s does it have? 3. What do we know about the number 3? Let's call Mr. Odd. 1, 3. 3 is an odd number. It cannot be shared equally by 2 groups. If we have 14 flowers, okay, we know that that would be, let's look at how many 1s it has. Has 4 1s, and I know when I count in 2s, use my 2 times tables, and when I call Mr. Even, 2, 4 is there, so I know it's even. 15, look at the number of 1s. How many 1s are in 15? 5. And I know that if I called Mr. Odd, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Hello, Mr. Odd. 5 is odd. It cannot be shared into 2 equal groups. 16. Which number do I look at to help me? I look at the 1s. How many 1s do we have? 6. What do I know about the number 6? Let's try calling Mr. Even. 2, 4, 6. 6 is even, and it's also in my 2 times table. Let's have a look then. Even, we were right. 15, odd, we were correct. 16, even, we were correct again. Have a quick look at this one. I know 6 is an even number because I can split 6 into cubes of 2 equal groups. Oh, dearie me, Mrs. Eastwood really needs to wake up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know if I called Mr. Even, 2, 4, 6 would be there. If I was to use my 2 times table, 6 is in it. It can go into 2 equal groups of 3. We know it is even. Now I know 10 is an even number, but I can't split this 10 into 2 pieces. It's too hard. It's just one lump of plastic. So just because it's made of plastic, okay, and we can't snap it, doesn't mean then it becomes odd. We have to look at a way of being able to put it into 2 groups. So how would you put this 10 into 2 groups? I know it's even because when I call Mr. Even, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, he will answer. I know 10 is in my 2 times tables, but how would you put this into 2 groups? What would it look like? Hopefully you said you'd break it into 1s and then you'd have 5 in one group and 5 in another group. So you can just break the number down. So if 10 is even, then 20 must be even too, and 30 and 40, because they can be split into the groups. So even though 30 is an odd number of 10s, we can still split it into 2 groups. I would have 15 in each group because this 0 part of the multiple of 10, okay, this 0 part tells me that it is an even number, because when we call Mr. Even, we call the number 10, so a multiple of 10 can also be even. It has 0 1s, so I know I'm not going to have any bits left over. They will be shared into 2 equal groups. Okay. Now, if I add any of these pieces to my number, will it still be even? So if I added 12 or 4 for 14, 6 for 16, 2, 4, 6, 8 for 18, would they still be odd or even? If I'm adding a 2, a 4, a 6 or an 8, would it be odd or even? It would be even because I'm adding it to a multiple of 10. So think about the number of ones, they are all even numbers. So it would still be even. Whitney is making a number pattern. What numbers are missing? So have a look at what we know. 6, 8, 10, 12. That sounds familiar. 6, 8, 10, 12. Well, I know when I count from 6 to 8, 6, 7, 8, I've jumped on 2. 8, 9, 10, I've jumped on 2. 10, 11, 12, I've jumped on 2. So 2 more after 12 would be, have a look, 2 more ones would be 14. What would be my next number? 2 more ones and 4, 16. What would be after the 16? 18. Now, I need to go back in my 2. So not only do we need to be able to count on in 2s, we need to be able to count back in 2s. 10, 8, 6. I know before 6 it is 4, and before 4 it is 2. Okay, let me remove those. Which number greater than 40 could be in the pattern? So what do we know about this pattern? This pattern is even. So which numbers which are greater than 40 could be in the pattern? Let's have a look. I could have 42, 44, 46, 48, 50 and so on. If it ends in a 2, a 4, a 6, an 8 or a multiple of 10, it could go. So I could have 74, I could have 86. Could I have 97? Could I have that number? Hopefully you said no. Why? Hopefully you said odd. 7 is an odd number, so no, we would not be able to have that in the pattern because it doesn't end in 2, 4, 6, 8 or a multiple of 10. It is an odd number. It cannot be shared by 2 groups. Let's just finish by calling Mr. Odd. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Hello, Mr. Odd. And finish off with calling Mr. Even. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Hello, Mr. Even. Keep practicing that today at home, and that will really help you with number patterns and remembering those odd and even numbers. Bye-bye.